Welcome back to the Professional Lovers channel. I'm Al.
And I'm Patty.
And we are the Professional Lovers back home.
Not on the beach anymore. Wow.
Well, we got some different kind of music in the background.
Yeah, but we all like the beach. It's such my happy place.
And we appreciate all of your well wishes.
Yes,
thank you very much.
Thank you. So
I like y'all.
To those who have just joined us, we got a couple new subscribers this week. Mm-hmm. So thank you. And we look forward to conversing back and forth, or you just getting something out of what we have to say as we talk about relationships through the lens of Married at First Sight.
Which is the intent. And
our own experience. And tonight, everybody was being triggered. Everybody in each couple was being triggered. So tonight was the trigger night.
Yeah.
Yeah, because there's 1 week until decision day.
Yeah, everybody's getting cold feet.
Everybody's getting cold feet. Everybody's feeling the pressure.
Yeah, and not relying. And everybody's talking about it. Mm-hmm. About relying on the process, but they're not.
And they're allowing the negative aspects to outshine the positives. And they're focusing their views and their perspectives on the negative.
Yeah. And just because of a percentage that's been thrown around, there isn't much of anything that a person would not enjoy in life if they got 90% of it, because there is no such thing as perfection. So 90% of something that you think you really want, that's.
If you believe in the 90%, I dare say that getting that 10% is not going to be difficult.
Yeah, or working through whatever that 10% is not.
Yeah. Now, people will say, oh, I don't want 90% of a relationship. We're talking about people who've known each other for 7 weeks.
Really? And to get that far
in 7 weeks means that it won't take much to get the other 10. And that's really what we're saying.
True.
We have had the benefit of getting to know the other person before deciding to get married, that he had enough character and he had enough boxes to be checked for me that I was 100% sure. But that took 6 months.
Yeah.
Not
Even
7 weeks.
Yeah, I mean.
So if you can get to 90% in 7 weeks, then you're doing well.
That's amazing.
And to me, that's outshining the 10%.
Whatever that 10% is.
Question that they have.
Yeah.
And that's the issue. They're focusing on the 10% and not focusing on
negating.
Yes,
the 90%.
that's a good word. Negating the 90% that they have. And that's messing with all of them.
Exactly. And I'm a sports person. I mean, one of the most difficult things to do, well, as simple as it may seem, is hitting a free throw. There are very few professionals that shoot 90% from the free throw line. And that's where there's nobody in front of you, you by yourself, just shooting. So, I mean, in baseball, the best hitters don't even hit 40% of their at-bats. I mean, in just about any analogy of real life, you're not going to get 100%. Now you can, and I understand the desire for a 100% effort.
And that's really what it is. Because I was going to say, his being 100% for me by no means meant that he's perfect.
True.
Because he's not. And neither am I for him.
Revelation.
But he's 100% for me and what I felt I needed in a partner to be the best that I could be. And I'm assuming, because I don't want to speak for him, I'm assuming that he was on the same wavelength.
Revelation. And likewise. True.
Yeah, so that's what it is. It's not 100%. It's not perfection.
True.
We're human beings. There is no perfection.
We are all flawed.
Exactly. But I can take his flaws. He can take my flaws.
And like them.
And know how to manage them. Get to a point where it doesn't really phase us.
Yeah. I mean, some things you just need to let go. I mean, and that is part of the compromise in the relationship. Out of all the things that you like about a person, you enjoy the time that you spend and, whatever the case may be, but you hate the fact that, he throws his socks on next to the hamper. That's some far off analogy that I just thought of.
Just far off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you kick him out the house because he puts his dirty socks next to the hamper as opposed to putting them in the hamper? They eventually get in the hamper. They just may not get there right then. But, I mean, something as trivial as that. Not to say that what they're going through is trivial, because a lot of it...
to him. And just accepted by me.
And like I said, they don't stay there long. So I eventually get to it. But you don't negate the rest of what is positive over something that you would prefer to happen.
Right, right. So, that's kind of the basis of the discussion that we're going to have tonight. So it doesn't have to be really long because every couple is going through it. So Lindy and Miguel, continuing from last week, Lindy's feeling filtered. Lindy's feeling like her stifled her personality traits.
Yeah.
Which, some of which can get on his nerves and some of which don't. For the last 7 weeks, apparently, they haven't gotten on his nerves enough until he went into his negative mental space. And then everything was touchy.
Yeah.
And that's kind of still where they are. And his insistence on leaving himself this window of out. I love you so much, and I really want to work this out.
And I'm sorry that you feel that way, or I've made you feel that way, and that I even feel this way.
But I'm concerned about this, and this, and I don't know if I can handle it. But I love you so much, and I want to work this out.
Why even say but?
For all of these couples and what we are seeing as their issue, we go back to our book, Becoming a Professional Lover. Mm-hmm. And the tip that says, motivate resolutions by never making divorce an option. True. Now, in the context of Married at First Sight, we understand that divorce has been on the table from the beginning. And there have been more couples than not that needed to divorce.
True. And have.
But because divorce is on the table and has been from the very beginning, it's difficult to not consider that an option. But really, if you can say, I'm at 90%, divorce should not be an option.
It shouldn't. Think of it, and crazy analogy, but think of it as a cage fight. Either you fight for survival or you die. There's no getting out of the cage. And that's the way I look at this. Not that you're trying to kill each other off.
Yeah, it's not that kind of fight.
It's just that you don't come out of the cage unless you find a way to coexist with one another. Plain and simple.
And again, we're looking at that 90%.
Yeah.
So, Lindy's feeling like I can't really tell you how I feel because I feel like you can't handle it and you will run and I'll lose you. And that's a really hard place to be because, of course, we're always talking while, the show is going on. Mm-hmm. And I was saying, it's interesting because, Miguel has, I guess, said that she yells, she raises her voice and whatever. And I'm like that, as in, I don't yell.
No.
But I can get very animated. I'm more animated than he is.
She's a communicator.
Especially if I'm passionate about what we're talking about, or I'm trying to get my point across, or whatever the case may be. And I can come across, my tone can come across very harsh sometimes, and very definite. And if he let that bother him, and this is one of the boxes he checked out for me. Mm-hmm. If he let that bother him, we wouldn't be together.
True.
If he took it as she's attacking me,
yeah,
we wouldn't be together.
If I took her straightforward delivery
right.
as an attack toward me,
personally,
yeah, we would have issues. And,
we wouldn't be together.
You know, but I understand that's just the manner that she does. Like she said, when she's passionate about something, she expresses it strongly. She grew up with 4 brothers, so I can't imagine what it would be like to have a discussion with headstrong individuals that think they're right about everything, younger and older.
I didn't say that.
You know, I did, because I know them too. So, yeah. So I can understand how that was part of her DNA growing up, you know, and being able to get an edge in, you know, a word in edgewise because of the mindset of
and personalities,
you know, of strong individuals, yeah. You know, so headstrong individuals, and not to say that they're not strong individuals, you know, they believe in what they believe in, and that's fine.
Yeah,
it's not to say that they're always right.
Ooh. Anyway,
they're not always wrong either.
But
Patty's always right.
Right. Anyway, Miguel apparently is taking that personally. And it's unnecessary. Now, in the after party, mm-hmm. he said, "Yes, I have been threatening to leave, but I don't mean it."
Yeah.
And that is the worst when it comes. That's manipulative.
That's game playing.
That's manipulative. Yeah. If you don't mean it, you don't say it.
True.
Because you're using it as a veiled threat, and that's what Lindy said. It feels like you're constantly, you know, threatening me with this leaving stuff, and he admitted, I have been doing that. I'm not even going to BS it. And that is not a way to motivate resolution.
No.
To make threats
for somebody
of leaving. Yeah, and you know that's a trigger.
Yeah. What if they call your bluff? What if they call your bluff
and just say bye?
Yeah. And
then
you
what?
blow because of your veiled threat.
Yeah.
You know, that makes no sense whatsoever.
And when you keep doing that, you do move yourself to the point where the person finally gets tired of hearing that and says bye.
Yeah.
I'm done.
Felicia.
Okay, so he needs to stop. Stasha and Nate. Well, their issue tonight is the house. And I can see both sides. You know, she used her own money to have this house built for her. Mm-hmm. And she's a real estate professional and she's a design professional. And in her head, she saw exactly how she wanted her house to look. And now, here comes a husband who has his own ideas, design ideas, or his own likes, and you want him to feel like it's his too, but it's really not, but you want him to feel it is, and his design aesthetic doesn't meet yours. What do? And they have had that in the child issue. Yeah. The kid issue, which is a very
sensitive. It's very sensitive for both of them. Since they both grew up with, well, in single parent homes up to a certain point.
Right. But him all the way. But her, she did have a stepdad. But for him, it was more triggering because it was the mom who left.
Yeah.
And so as Stasha said, he has this idea of what a mother is supposed to be. Yeah. And to her child, and
it's because he didn't have one,
right?
So he only has his mind to formulate the thought of what one should be.
And unfortunately, he's not looking past the fact that Stasha is not his mother.
True.
She's not as young as his mother.
Exactly.
She's not irresponsible.
Not at all. She's
not immature. As the mother at 23 was, dealing with a 36-year-old man.
She's as old as his father was when he had him.
But in Nate's mind, his definition of fun is the 20-year-old type of fun. Or even the single person's type of fun.
Right.
where I'm hanging out and I'm drinking and I'm having, I'm hanging out.
Being irresponsible.
Yeah. And she's like, I don't even do that now.
Exactly.
So why are we defining fun
entertained?
Like
That's
that?
not what we do.
And so, he's kind of stuck in his head about, because you can have fun with children. We only have one, but that didn't stop us from traveling. We packed that little kid up and gave him whatever he needed to be occupied in the car and entertained in the car and entertained if we went to people's houses that did not have kids and make sure that he had what he needed to be entertained, and we were there. So we didn't it wasn't like you just stay at home and become a prisoner.
Exactly.
I mean, you have to.
Even in his mind, he thinks that like for the first 3 years of the kid's life, we do absolutely nothing but take care of the child, which is crazy.
That's crazy.
That's unrealistic.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't. You incorporate the child into your life.
And yes, it may mean, and those of you who have children know, it may mean that you have to do things a little differently.
Yeah.
But life doesn't stop because you have a child.
Didn't for us.
And he apparently can't see that because life was hard with just him and his dad without his mom, and he didn't have his mom. And so, that's kind of a hard conversation, but it's not insurmountable.
No, that just takes a meeting of the minds and addressing the issue as it unfolds. Yeah.
And Stasha is going to have to let go of some of that control and stop thinking about her house as a museum.
Yeah, she wants a White House.
She wants a museum.
Yeah.
She doesn't want a lived-in house. She wants a staged museum. Yeah. And she's going to have to get over it because with children, that is unrealistic.
And that all started off by him saying that, looking at this house, it would be unsafe for a child. And she was kind of wondering where he was going with it, but he was just thinking, not because of edges and whatnot, but because the kid's going to be dirty. Kids going to be writing on the walls.
So they don't have to write on the walls.
But they can.
Come on,
they could.
Ours never did.
They'll find. Yeah, he found a wall.
Anyway,
but
you can have controls.
You give them, if they want to write, you give them things to write on.
Yeah, and if he wants to write on the wall in his own playroom, then make the wall or what he writes with as such that it can be cleaned off. I'm just saying.
A half chalkboard wall.
Yeah. So lots of compromises have to be made on her end to realize that she's not coming into this house as a single woman living by herself.
Yeah.
She's coming in with a husband and eventually children.
Yeah. And for him to get out of the this is your house, but we're living in it idea, then offer up some type of compensation where you can feel comfortable. I mean, to say that, okay, this is our house. I mean, at least address the possibility of it if it's going to make you feel any differently.
Yeah, I mean, there has to be compromises.
Yeah. But again, it's bought, it's paid for. Well, I don't know if it's bought and paid for, but she had it built.
It's built and with her money.
Yeah. And, if there's still a mortgage, then, hey, you contribute to it. So you have the right to do what you want in it as well. But they're gonna have to learn to back up and just adapt to each other.
Kristen and Mitch. So Mitch went out of town to a conference for a week right after they got back from the retreat. And the main issue was the wedding ring. Him taking off his ring to play the single role, which he is not. And then putting it back on once he got back home to be married again. That don't work, dude.
Well, it's not, and he wasn't doing it maliciously. He wasn't doing it for the purpose of doing anything in particular.
Well, he wasn't doing it for the purpose of flirting with the women.
Right. He was doing it to hopefully escape from having to explain his new life.
But unfortunately,
he was incorporating it into his old life, which happened to be part of work. But he it's something he feels uncomfortable doing. I mean, that's just him.
Sorry.
And yeah.
I cannot agree with ever taking off the
No,
ring
I'm
as
not.
a
I'm
married
not. I'm
person.
not saying that's what he needed to do. I'm not saying he needed to do
No,
that at all.
I know you were saying that's why he did it.
Yeah,
And
that's
I'm
why he did it.
saying never take
But
off your ring.
I mean, because eventually, not eventually, I think from the time that you decide to be married, you have to have a pride in your decision in being married, and that the choice that you have made with your spouse supersedes any other activity that you used to do, that you find yourself even going back to visit, to engage in, or whatever. And if it happens to come up in discussion, so be it.
Yeah, and if you don't want to talk about it, you don't have to.
Exactly. It's your narrative, if it's your life, and if you don't feel like talking about the details of your life, you don't have to.
But you don't take off your ring.
No,
That's a 0.
yeah.
And he discovered that in the after party, where folk were like, the women were like, eh.
And there's a certain appreciation of Mitch because he is very transparent.
Yes.
But still, even as transparent as you are, you can't be more than naive. Because that was more than naive. That was a little stupid.
Yeah, talking about all the pretty beach girls and it's more girls than guys, and
I think
it's me with a bunch of girls.
At one point, I think he was trying to be a little sarcastic, or funny, but what preceded that was a build-up. So however funny it may have been, it wasn't funny no more.
Yeah, and he got that as he watched the clips.
Yeah.
And that's when he always seems to get it. After he watches the clips of himself and realizes how that didn't come across well.
Yeah.
And how, again, that just feeds into Kristen's insecurity about how he really feels about her. Which he's starting to say more of.
Yeah, he is. And
he's starting to say that more.
I have to give him, he's
but
given his affirmation.
That was his big mistake this week, is taking off that ring. First of all, making the statement, I'm going to be the old Mitch and the single Mitch. Yeah. Taking a ring off and then coming back home, putting it back on and say, okay, I'm married Mitch now. Yeah, no.
Yeah, married Mitch now?
Yeah, that's a 0. Then Alexis and Justin. Justin had made the decision for his marriage to give Maya to his best friend.
Difficult decision, hands down. Understandable.
Painful.
Yeah.
And yet, he used that to make an assumption that Alexis would say absolutely, positively, 100% say yes on decision day.
You've given up your dog for me. I mean...
And that was unfair. Because... Again, it's kind of a manipulation type of thing.
Yeah.
Where,
or an assumption.
You're both in the same situation of, 90%, 10% unsure. Yeah. And so to want to force her to say, I'm at 100% and I will say yes on decision day is not fair. And he shouldn't have done that.
And see, again, it's understanding your partner, the type of individual that they are, and understanding their means or their manner of communicating. Now, when Justin and Alexis got together with Mitch and Kristen, Mitch asked a question, is 90%, because it was like Alexis said, she was 90% in. Okay. Mitch asked, is 90% enough for you? And he was like, no. I'm like, whoa.
And that's the whole point. Justin uses the negative narrative. That's what he starts living in his head.
And he always has had that element in him.
Yeah, and and he uses that narrative to make decisions. And that's kind of sad, because again, you're negating 90% for the 10% narrative. And since I feel like you're going to quit on me, I'm going to quit on you first.
Yeah. And it's like history. If you've had multiple girlfriends, boyfriends, For whatever reason, they didn't last. For whatever reason, they didn't last. And if you constantly harp back on all of those reasons why they didn't last, none of the future ones will last either.
Right.
Because that's all you're thinking about.
See, and supposedly at the beginning, when he fell in love with Kristen and everybody said that was just way too fast and she's the one and that was just way too fast, he said, I can do that and still be vulnerable without being, it was almost like without being naive. But he's proving that he can't.
Yeah.
Because he's choosing to live in the negative narrative. And then to say I feel played. And I know there's some of you who feel like Alexis has not been honest and that she is playing him, but I honestly don't feel that way. She is scared just like everybody else is scared.
And I think she's one of the most logical individuals that has been on this show. And that's just me personally. Because she does talk through her thought process.
Yeah.
And she's a strong-willed woman.
And she is a little gossipy, but
well, that's
I don't feel like she's actually been playing Justin.
Yeah, I don't think she's
Justin is completely different from anyone that she's ever had before.
True.
And he does not fit her personality. He's much more sensitive, much more emotional, much more, touchy-feely. Mm-hmm. And that has not been her. So in trying to navigate how she deals with him being so different, but kind of wanting that, she's scared too.
True.
So I don't feel like she's been playing him. But,
But I know for a fact that she needs a stronger presence from him.
Yeah.
And a more secure presence from him for her to feel confident in her decision.
Yeah.
But
he's not giving her that.
And for him to feel that his decision is predicated on her decision, it's your decision. So what if they decide to ask you first? What you going to say? No, ask her first.
Yeah. Because then you're making your decision based off of what you assume her decision is going to be. And that's what he's doing now anyway. I feel like you're going to quit. I feel like you're going to say no on decision day, so I'm going to say no.
And that, to me, that's crazy because all it takes, as far as I'm concerned, with the two of them, is for him to really just dive in. I'm not going to let you go. She won't go anywhere.
If she felt that, if any of them did that, nobody's going anywhere.
I tell her all the time, if she leaves me, I'm going with her. So, simple.
He does say that. First he said, if you leave me, I'm going to be a dog from now on.
That was years ago when I had the energy to be a dog.
Yeah.
I don't have the energy
but now it's, he's going with me.
Yeah.
So, there you go.
So, she saves the rest of the
So, I'm going to leave and he's just going to come.
True.
And then, he'll leave and I'll come.
Don't nobody want an old dog.
Anyway, so there we have it. Our couples have all been in some operating from places of fear and doubt. They're operating from the 10%. So, your couple of the week?
Mitch and Kristen. It feels funny to say it, but it's true. She held it in, she absorbed it because she understands who Mitch is. She may not like all of what Mitch is at this point in time, but she understands him. She knows that, even with him taking the ring off, he was in his element, he was away. They did do the FaceTime and communicated and yada, yada, yada. And he made the mistake of not having his ring on when he got in the car. Okay, she noticed. All women will notice.
Thank you.
So, that was him shooting himself in the temple, really. Not even in the foot, in the temple. But she absorbs it, and she understands him, and she accepts him. Mitch has come a long way.
He has.
And they're in a comfort.
It's a long way to go, but he's made a lot of strides.
But again, I think they understand that they're both willing to grow together however awkward it may be.
Well, that's good, because my couple of the week is no one. 0. Every couple is a red flag couple for me this week.
It's because everybody's scared.
Well, still, everybody has displayed red flags that would not give me a security of feeling like we're in this for the marriage. Everybody. I don't know. I'm not saying that it's insurmountable. I don't see it as being insurmountable.
No.
But right now, they're all seeing it as insurmountable. And that's a red flag. If divorce can be an option for you at 90%, that's a red flag for me.
90%.
Yeah, that's a red flag.
Give me 90% of anything. I'm good.
So we'll see what happens next week. It's not looking very good, but we'll see what happens. So we'll be awaiting your feedback for those of you who like chatting with us, and to see where you think everybody's landing on decision day. And until then, because they're going to drag decision day out for a couple of weeks. It's not going to happen next week. But until then, we want you to love yourselves.
And each other.
Bye.
Peace. Be safe.